Hello, this is Will Faerber from Art to Ride, and today we're looking at a second submission by Stephanie of her horse Flynn. First thing I have to say is it's always interesting to watch when there are horses in the background working in videos with people working the way you're working. Interesting contrast. You've done a great job with bringing this horse along so far, and as far as a quick couple of answers to some of your questions. My advice for a rider who's crooked is just keep riding correctly and you will straighten out. The beauty of the classical system is if you work to correct your horse and understand that you cannot do anything your horse isn't prepared to do. So we must always, or that is to say, we cannot separate the training of the rider from the training of the horse. I mean, how can we? I can't suddenly ask you to start doing piaffe and passage on a horse that doesn't know how to do it. So by working in this way, even a rider who doesn't have a great deal of experience can work the horse at the level that the horse needs to be worked in the stretch. And once you can do that, and you can begin to relax, your legs will descend down the side of the horse. You'll find your balance. When you see me in clinics, the most thing I talk about as far as the position with people is just the straightness, how to align their back. And actually, you're getting yours quite nicely aligned. So what just know is that you, as your horse straightens under you, and remember a horse can never be straight that's not over its back, that is, that hasn't lifted its back, because that's what allows the vertebrae in the back to swing from side to side and actually bend. So to think about or worry about bend before you have the horse stretched is just a complete another waste of time, and what ends up with horses looking in very constrained frames. So what you're doing is great. Just keep doing what you're doing because you're really doing a great job. This horse is getting into a really good stretch. The walk was quite nice. There's a few moments that you come up and down here a little bit, but nothing that, it's getting really consistent, and the horse is developing a really nice swing and rhythm over its back the entire time. There, when we get to that position, how lovely that is. So, if you can get to there, you can get anywhere else, ultimately, if you're willing to take the time. Already this horse's back looks better, but you just always know that no matter where your horse is, the process of bringing a horse's body to the point of development that it can develop real collection is always at least 2 years, whatever horse you start with. So if you're starting with a horse that and if you read any good book on the subject, the Spanish Variety School, or any book that talks about really developing horses rather than just training them to do tricks, that's what every one of those good books will tell you. Just because we've gotten better horses, the problem with many people have not realized that just because the horse can do something on a given day, like many of these young jumping horses will just jump anything you put them in front of until they don't. And once they make a mistake, however, then the horse never wants to jump again. But you're doing absolutely a wonderful job with this horse, and you're going to find that as he straightens, you're just going to straighten. I'm not seeing any major problems with your body. You're really starting to stretch up really nicely. Your legs are getting long. I see your toe is lifted, and always remember, just let your toes turn out to whatever degree they need to let your legs just naturally in a relaxed way balance and stretch down around the bodies of the horse, that is. So look how metronomic this horse is getting. Even when he comes up and down a little bit, the rhythm was barely lost there at all. So this is absolutely beautiful. Right there is absolutely wonderful stretch. So from this, what you want to do, once you can get this, is just gradually start to bring the pole up without changing the rhythm. If you feel the rhythm, that we lose the rhythm, like you're trying to do there, then we know you just have to let him back down again. When the horse is ready to come up and stay soft in the jaw and pole, it will do it. It'll come up very easily into the contact. And if they can't, they won't, or they'll be resistive. As I said, almost all resistance that people encounter in horses have their origins in some kind of physical discomfort, either the discomfort of being forced into a frame or asked to do something it physically can't do, or the discomfort of a bad-fitting shoes, bad-fitting saddle, bad-fitting bridle, bad-fitting bit. All of these things can make a difference. But the way you have this horse going now, there's no reason that you won't be able to develop this horse to the highest level that you want to go to if you're willing to wait. It's a good enough mover, as I said, which is really what dressage should be about. As many of you have heard, we are starting the World Dressage Federation, and dressage really should be the most democratic, so to speak, of the sports, because it should be about the training of the horse, not the horse flesh itself. And unfortunately, in later years here, dressage all became about who could afford the fanciest car, so to speak, to drive around the track, even though they're not really racing anymore. So that's what we have to consider. So really, in the World Dressage Federation, the dressage itself and the training of the horse will be the thing that is paramount in our minds, and to maintain that and the welfare of the horse. So you've done a great job here. Needed a little more contact right there as he comes around the corner. Now, we don't want to just throw away the reins. And I do see some people kind of thinking this, that are trying to teach this out there in the world. And they're kind of just saying, well, throw away the reins and race around the arena. And that nothing could be further than how you want to do this. You want to develop a light contact, which means you want to be able to ride, without contact against the horse's mouth, but you want there to be a consistent contact, because that is from where we communicate with the horse. We must sort of take that sense of that stretching concept into the contact with the bridle, that we can feel the back round up underneath us, as opposed to just letting a horse's head be out in front of you and saying, oh, well, I'm riding classical dressage because I'm not touching the mouth. Well, nothing could be further from the truth. Now, however, if you do not have your balance, you certainly shouldn't be doing much with the reins. You should never have much contact. But the beauty of learning to ride like this is that you will develop, as I said, all of your problems, as long as you're sure you're in a saddle that allows you to be straight, will begin to disappear. But look at the beautiful stretch this horse has now. And you can see how he's even starting to develop a little bounce over the ground there. So that's what you want to do in the next video you send me now, is just bring this horse up. And I apologize for how long it took me to get to you with this. But as you know, I just took a trip for a month in Europe, so it was just difficult. My computer died and I wasn't able to do anything with it because I couldn't charge it. So anyway, apologize for taking a little time here to get to you on this one. But you've really done a good job, and I imagine since it's been a month or two since you sent this in, he's really developed even beyond this. So he is certainly ready to come up now. So just remember, as you bring him up, the idea is to keep the exact same rhythm and keep the jaw and poll soft. So he comes up and we feel that flexion of the jaw and poll, which is what really, when it becomes really elastic, that really allows us to communicate in a very subtle way with the horse. But that is developing really here, very beautifully. You have already developed quite independent aids. That is, your hands are never pulling back against the mouth of the horse, which is the most important thing. And of course, that is the difference between what it means to ride a horse from front to the back. If you're hanging on the horse's mouth and forcing its neck into some frame, you're riding the front end of the horse, not the back end. No matter how much you may push and think that you're pushing the horse under them, or in some of these theories, people think they're pulling the horse back onto the hindquarters. Believe me, folks, you cannot pull a horse back onto the hindquarters. You can shorten their frame, so maybe it appears that way, but I guarantee you, if you then open that horse's frame up and you see everything just fall apart, or as I say, when you see horses that have been ridden that way and they try to let them go into a lengthened stride, it looks like the wheels are going to come off the car, so to speak, as the legs start flying all over the place, because they're not really, they're just being held in. As soon as they release them, they found out how completely out of balance they are. And of course, always remembering once again that what we mean by rhythm. Rhythm means the rhythm between the two ends of the horse, not the speed that you're going around the arena. But that was really beautiful trot work. This horse got to a really lovely place where it was just flowing over the ground. You come back to a really nice walk. And I see how he tried to slow there on you, but you right away just sent the horse back forward again. And once you get that swinging walk, remember that we don't want to lose it. I watched quite a few horses at the Olympic Games that just happened, and I saw very few of them that didn't have lateral walks, which should tell you immediately that the horse is hollow in the back. That's how you end up with a lateral walk. In other words, you've altered the natural gait. And by the way, that's how we talk about, it's also how you create unnatural gaits, like the 5-gaited horses and horses that tolt and all these kind of things. All these gaits are created the same way, by hollowing the back of the horse. So when you see horses do that, you know the horse has got to be disconnected from front to back, or it wouldn't move like that, because these are the natural gaits. There are only 3 natural gaits that you can perform on a horse without distorting its gaits, by distorting its posture. Really good here. Now look how this horse is really starting to bounce off the ground. Now watch those back legs right there. That's absolutely perfect. And you see how he's actually starting to push off the ground instead of pull himself by the shoulders. And once you get that lovely springiness, that's what we never want to lose. And remember, as we're bringing the horse up, the idea is just to keep the jaw and poll soft, but do not shorten the neck back into the body. That's the biggest mistake most people make as they start bringing the head up and think they need to draw the neck back at them. Nothing could be further from the truth. As soon as you pull on the neck and shorten, in other words, shorten the horse's neck differently than you shorten the back. Remember, it all has to work together. And we'll watch the horse when these horses are in the right frame, as you're getting this one here. And it just literally looks like a ball rolling over the ground. You can see the whole springs, like when he gets to right there, and look how springy the back end became. And once again, always realize if you take your finger and block off the neck so you only see the body of the horse would look like it's well underneath itself and swinging. So many people today, unfortunately, confuse because they see the neck down, they think the horse is on the forehand. Of course, always remember that a horse that's hollow is always on the forehand, no matter how high it brings its knees. Because, of course, a horse that's hollow is not working through the back, so it's pulling itself with its shoulders, which is why all those kind of horses have those big developed underside of their necks. That's not natural for horses to have that, what we call a U-neck. That's just bad muscle development. Look how beautiful this is as the horse is flowing over the ground. And of course, look how completely relaxed the horse is. And that's what we never want to lose. This idea that horses become more excited as they go up in the levels, is completely absurd and counter to the whole idea of training horses. As your horse is getting more difficult to ride because of the training, that should be people's first clue that there's something going seriously wrong. Really nice there. You started with kind of a loose contact, but you got back the contact again. So once again, remember, our goal is just to keep that unbroken line. And if we have to do that by widening our hands, this is a beautiful stretch in the canter. You've actually done a wonderful job with this horse. As I said, I can't wait to see the next one because that's been a month or so back since you sent this. But this is absolutely fantastic, and this horse is definitely ready to come up. When you can stretch in all three gaits, the horse is ready to start making that journey back upwards. Just always remembering never to shorten the neck in the process, but just keep the jaw and poll a little softer as the neck comes up. We feel that soft pliableness of the jaw and poll, which can only happen if the horse's back is up. If the goal of riding is lightness, I guarantee you no horse ever becomes light by being held against by holding against their mouth. They just become dead in the mouth. And if they do become light, it's because they're broken at the third or fourth vertebrae, and in fact, they are behind the bit. Really fantastic here. I love how you just widen your hands quickly. Your position, looks really quite nice. You say you feel a little bent. Well, I guarantee if you keep riding like this, your horse will straighten out, and so will you. You can really feel the ball there, how this, the wave is just carrying you forward without any interruption. We saw a terrible accident that we posted to the site the other day from the Olympics cross country, and you could just see this man pulling the horse. The horse was already hollow, so he thinks he's pulling it back on its hindquarters to make it jump higher, but all he's doing is breaking the stride. So of course he lands in the middle of the fence, and he just narrowly missed getting crushed. It was the closest call I think I've ever seen. And the horse just, I'm sure is sore today. It looked like it was going to break its neck. Which, of course, as we talk about all the time, that's why we never want to restrict the front end of the horse. If a horse starts to fall with you and you don't let go of the front end, that's when they come over on top of you. So every rider needs to learn to ride in a loose contact the way you're doing here. Really wonderful stretch in the canter. Really, really nice. So all this work has been absolutely fantastic. You're spot on with all of this. I think your position is developing absolutely wonderfully. He's really starting to swing over his back, and there was barely a wasted step in all of that workout today, and that's exactly how you want your workout to be. We don't want to work horses for hours and hours. When you see people that are going beyond 45 minutes an hour working a horse in dressage, you know that they're on the wrong track. All the studies have shown that both for humans or horses, when you go beyond an hour, the body actually starts deteriorating rather than being built. So we want to just do what we need to get done, bring the horse to its peak each day, ask for just a little bit more, and then come back and have the same kind of experience each and every day. Then we build on a very great foundation, and the horse becomes relaxed, as this one has, and wonderful and swinging, and looks like nothing is bothering him, because you were never fighting him. So what you've done here is absolutely wonderful work. I think this horse is ready to come up, so begin to work with that idea, starting with the walk, of course, and practice with the walk very slowly till you can begin to bring his poll up and keep soft in the jaw and poll, but without shortening the neck back into the body. That's the big key here. I really look forward to seeing this one. And as you see, there's still a little bit dip behind the saddle there, but that's going to completely go away. You keep working the horse the way this is now. A year from now, the withers is going to be, a couple of inches higher on the horse than it is now, and that whole back is going to be completely filled in. I guarantee it. So really, really wonderful work coming back to a nice swinging walk. All of that just looked exactly what you would like. It was appropriate work for the level that you're working the horse, and you have brought him to a place where he's really started to. I could see the thrust. When you see that little more, it looks like the hind legs suddenly get more spring. That's what we're looking for. When you see that, it means the horse is beginning to push up. You're beginning to develop thrust. That is, the hind leg is beginning to push up into the rounded back, which is what lifts the front legs out of the way. This is Will Faerber from Art to Ride. Wonderful job. Thanks to everybody on the European trip. Look forward to seeing you all soon.